Today, we are going to be reviewing the Bucatstate 120 centimeter enclosure. Bucatstate was kind enough to gift us this enclosure in exchange for a review, but all of the opinions in this video are my own, and I'm not being paid to say anything. Dun, 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 dun. Let's see, what do we have in here? Oh, this is so cute. This is like a little postcard. Wait, I have to show you guys. This is so cute. Are you gonna help me set this up? I don't think so. I think you're gonna go play in the box. Yep. How did I know? As you guys may know, I have the Night Angel Stacker series enclosures, and I would say those are probably pretty comparable to this. So I'm interested to see how they compare to each other. Where am I gonna put this? JJ, you're in the way. We have all of like the little tools and stuff. I think these are probably like the bars. And here is the plexiglass. It is made out of plexiglass, which is pretty understandable considering shipping glass is pretty heavy and very risky. Though I do have to say, I'm not a major fan of using plexiglass enclosures. It's just my own personal preference. There's nothing wrong with using them. I just don't like how flimsy they can be, and plexiglass is very good at like holding a lot of static cling. So bedding dust and stuff often gets stuck on the edges and it just bothers me. And this is the base. So I don't think I have to do anything, but let me read the instructions. Oh, step one is on this side. So we need the clear door. Of course, with plexiglass, we get that really satisfying cling peel moment. I feel like it probably would have been nice if the clips were already pre-attached to the enclosure. I mean, I don't know if that makes it more difficult for them to ship it, but I don't think there is a certain way. Oh, it's because this stuff is in the way. So I'm gonna carefully flip this to the back and we're gonna screw these supports in with our screws. Comes with this little handy dandy screwdriver. Flip that back. The next step is to slot in the side and back panels. When slotting it in, it says you want to make sure that it remains even on both sides. Okay. And now for the back piece. And now slide this in. This might be a challenge. I think they need to go in more. I think these need to go lower because there's a rubber piece in here. I think for the most part it's good. Oh, I'm so stupid. This is literally the wrong way. Make sure you put the panels on the right way the first time because taking them out is quite a challenge. Good. Now we can put the lid on. The rubber sliders are definitely a challenge. They kind of get in the way of everything. The rubber sliders have proven to be a bit of an annoyance. They kind of slide around, and if they get in the way, which now I can't really. Why don't you want to work? It's like I don't know, what is this, like a millimeter? It's like a millimeter too long or something. These rubber seals are gonna actually be the death of me because the plexiglass doesn't want to fit into the rubber seal. It's just like bending it a certain way. Oh my gosh. Oh, and it popped out. Like, why? I'm just gonna put the screws in and maybe that will help. Let me show you guys. So you can see it's just a little bit, it's a little bit bigger, and I can't push it or pull it in. Like, I can kind of get it in, but I shouldn't have to be doing this much work to get this in. And there we go. Oh, okay, I'm done. Now let me give you a little bit more info on this enclosure. So it is 47.1 inches long by 23.6 inches wide and 24.5 inches tall. That would give you a total floor space of 1,111 square inches of floor space. For the cost, I really do feel like this enclosure is fairly priced. If you are interested in purchasing it, this is going to run you about $249.99 US dollars. And if you're in Canada, that'll cost you $338.99 Canadian dollars. Or if you live in the UK, that'll be $189.99 British pounds. For anyone concerned about bedding depth with the front opening door, don't worry, they give you 30 centimeters or 11.8 inches of space between the door and the base. So that does give you a decent amount of bedding space. This enclosure also does have the capability to stack on top of each other. So if you have more than one hamster, you could stack them on top of each other. Just keep in mind, you're not going to be able to access those two top opening doors. It's the next day, so let me give you my personal thoughts on the enclosure. If I had to rate it, I would give it a 7 out of 10 stars. I really wanted to be able to give it 10 out of 10 stars, but I have a couple of qualms about it. Overall, I'm very happy with the size of this enclosure. I think it would be perfect for a dwarf or a Syrian hamster to live in permanently. I also really like the width of the enclosure. It's not too narrow like some, which would then make it really hard to set up, but it has a great amount of width. It also has enough depth for you to put a proper amount of substrate for your hamster to burrow in. I really love all of that. Now, here's where my issue comes in. The setup of this enclosure is fairly simple. You're basically sliding panels in and that's it, right? But as you guys saw me struggle yesterday, putting the enclosure together and putting the lid on it, it is a little bit harder than I would have liked. Essentially, my issue is that they have put these black rubber seals. They are all over the enclosure wherever there's like gaps for it to stay secure. And I'm assuming they added those because people probably complained about it rattling, which there's no rattling, so that worked. But the black seals, they are impossible to get the plexiglass to fit into. So the plexiglass doesn't fit into them. And because it doesn't fit into them, that makes the front of this enclosure bow. So I have this issue, and I set it up yesterday and I had this issue, and again today I went ahead, took apart the pieces. I took a knife, I went through to try to, make sure the seal was wide enough for everything to fit. I even tried to wedge a knife in there to try to keep it open while sliding the plexiglass in. I pushed down as hard as I could. I could not get this front piece at least to fit in to the rubber part, and that is now causing issues with the door, which makes it really hard to open. Like I can't get a grip of it because it's stuck. And the front is doing this. And this is coming from someone who has a lot of experience in assembling enclosures and building my own DIY enclosures. I would consider myself to be someone who is extremely handy. I'm usually able to find solutions to issues, and I couldn't. So I can't imagine somebody who maybe even is a little bit disabled trying to put this enclosure together would probably be extremely difficult for them. Now maybe I just have a defective enclosure and the rest aren't like this, but I probably would recommend for the next model they make to not put the black sealers. I do really like that there is a door in the front, and then you have these massive top doors that allow you to easily clean and access the cage. You can add in really large accessories without having to worry about them fitting in this front door. They also did opt for putting little mesh slits on the top of the lid. I probably would have preferred if they used like a wire mesh, just because that gives it more ventilation, but the slits probably do prevent a hamster from monkey barring or doing behaviors like that. The other thing is they did try to go ahead and add in more ventilation to the enclosure by putting the same slits on the side panels, and I would just worry that a hamster would be able to reach those and start to possibly chew in those sections, because if a hamster really wants to chew it, it just makes it a lot easier for them to do that. The enclosure is really easy to clean because of these two big doors, and it also is made out of metal and plexiglass. So if you're worried about sanitizing it, it definitely is easy in that aspect. So those are my personal thoughts and experience with the enclosure. I hope this can maybe help someone decide whether or not they want to get this enclosure, and I hope that other people don't have the same issue with the front and the rubber sealers like I have. Hopefully Bucatstate can improve with the black rubber sealer in the future. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this video, and I hope to see you in our next one. Bye!